Okay, the plane lost it. Wow,
Now, as you guys can hear in the clip, it was extremely windy when we got there. But basically, today's vlog, we're going to be at RAF Cosford. It's the old RAF museum here in the Midlands. It's a really good day out. We're there with the family, Lot, Mum, Alan. Let's get into it. Come out, first thing straight away you see one of the old Nimrods, one of the old surveillance planes, along with you've got Neptune there. And I don't know, what's that one, Alan? Do you know what that one is behind us? Domini, okay, so that's Lockheed. I don't know if the Nimrod was Lockheed Martin as well. Oh yeah, that's right. So we've got the Lockheed Neptune. Yeah. And then the Nimrod there, the old school surveillance planes. Now that is a proper bit of kit. And it's called the Sunbeam Arab 1. Actually produced down the road in Wolverhampton. It was actually a bike manufacturer that started making cars that then produced this engine for, I'm not sure what planes, to be honest with you. I'm guessing like this one maybe, or that one, I don't know. Proper old school though, proper old school bit of kit here as well, like the old mask. Wow. The mad thing is though, like you think about planes today, you think about the size of planes today, then I'm stood next to this one and it just seems so tiny in comparison. It's unreal. See, now we're at the bit where I'm starting to recognise stuff. Alan, stepdad, he's massively into all this, so he knows a lot more, but you're finally getting to where I start to recognise, like you've got Messerschmitt there, Spitfire there, obviously two iconic planes, and it's weird actually still being here and seeing these and thinking that they, you know, used to be like the peak of technology, the pinnacle of technology. And I don't know, see, I find all, you don't really see this side of me much, but I find all this kind of stuff so cool, and like I love just coming and seeing it. You don't really see that side of me much though. And I love stuff like this. I am a nerd for stuff like this. I've never streamed it or anything, especially since I moved to PC. But like Ace Combat, one of my favourite games of all time. Like I love planes, I love that kind of thing. Obviously I come from a family where my dad, my uncle and everyone was armed forces as well. Like I love this kind of thing, and it's so cool to just be able to come and see all of this. If you're in the UK, RAF Cosford, highly recommend it. Definitely worth a come and a look. See, it's stuff like this that I find so cool. Like they still use this kind of thing today. I mean, like over in Afghanistan and Iraq, it was cards with like the faces of all like the Al-Qaeda, Taliban, whatever one, people on it, so that as you're playing cards or whatever in the barracks, bunkers, whatever you may be, you're seeing the faces, you're recognising them, and that's exactly what they are. They're aircraft recognition cards, which you can see there were made in 1941 to help people actually recognise what planes they were looking out for and what planes they should be spotting. And the fact that something like that is still getting used today, pretty dope. And now this is exactly what I mean though, right? You go from this thing here, which from tail to prop is 5 metres long, 8 metres wide on the wingspan, then you just come over here, turn round, and you've got this behemoth sitting behind it. Now this one was only ever a combat prototype. This one never actually went into production or got used. It was a prototype, I believe, in the 50s? 50s, 40s? I'll tell you now. 50s, yeah. Prototype in the 50s for a high-speed, low-altitude strike or recon aircraft. Ended up not getting used. It got cancelled, but look at the size of the thing. And this is only 2 people in it. 2 spots in the cockpit up there. But look at the size of the thing. It is massive. And at this point here, with this one here, we're getting a little bit closer to modern aircraft. This one, for those of you who know anything about the British RAF or anything, the Eurofighter Typhoon, still currently used. This one, the British Aerospace EXP, their experimental aircraft EAP, experimental aircraft program. This plane, fly-by-wire plane that led to the Eurofighter Typhoon. Now, I think that might be in another bit here. We're going to go see where that is, but this is where you start seeing the modern silhouette and the modern look. Like, you've got your ASRAAM rockets and everything on the side of it as well, and it's pretty damn cool. So yeah, we're going to go through, have a look and see what else. Okay, you come in straight away and this big dominating figure right over you. I mean, Jesus, look at the size of this thing. Like, the size of the wheels. And for context, I was stood next to the tyre, but now we are in the bomb bay here. This massive bit runs all the way down, all the way up there. There's the bomb bay. And for those of you that haven't guessed what this is yet from the size of it, it's not the Lancaster. This one is the Avro B2 bomber. And I mean, the thing that's cool about it here, you still got on the inside here, I don't know if you can even see that or not, but you've still got the charts that show all the different kind of bombs and armaments and everything that this thing could hold. And I mean, if I stand here, which is as close to the back of the bomb bay as I can get, still in it, still in it, and boom, that is us now right underneath the nose gunner position. Genuinely just such a massive, massive plane. Obviously it's not the Lancaster. The Lancaster I think was a little bit bigger than the Avro. Might need to double check that one, but me and Alan were talking about it. We think it was just a little bit bigger, but it's massive. And holy, what a plane the B2 was, honestly. Like, oh, I'm so giddy about being here. I've not been here since I was probably like that height or something like that. And I am so giddy about being here, getting to see all this, getting to look at it all. Man, I love this kind of stuff. I love it. I am a nerd for this. I just don't ever actually get to see it. And it's so fucking cool. Now then, for those of you that play Call of Duty, which on my channel is going to be assuming a fair few of you, you might remember the equivalent of the nuke in, what was it, World War II and maybe Vanguard? I can't remember if it was in Vanguard or not. I think it might have been, but it was the V2 rocket, which actually is this thing right here. This is the V2 rocket, the first German guided ballistic missile, supersonic. This thing was a monster. I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't start getting introduced to the end of the war, I believe. The V2 at least anyway. But yeah, no, this thing was a monster. And again, to put it into perspective, on this picture here of it, that's someone there at the tip of it, which was like right here. And it goes through there, all the way down there. It's massive. We're next to what is not quite my favourite plane, or one of my favourites, but the precursor to it. This is the precursor to the Harrier. This is the Kestrel. This was developed to be VTOL, vertical takeoff or landing. so it doesn't need a runway or anywhere. It can be launched for remote area, for a carrier. Like if a runway was too badly damaged or something, it could still just take off. And you can see here the engines. They're kind of rotated about halfway to 45 degrees, but it's pretty cool. You've got the little wheels in the end of the wings that, you know, fold up and come out back here a little bit. But this thing went on to become the Harrier. This was developed a bit more than it was, and this is like one of my favourite planes of all time. I absolutely love it. I love the Harrier. I don't know what it is about the Harrier. There's just something about it that I've always liked, and this was the precursor to it. It's pretty awesome. I keep saying that a lot, pretty awesome, but it is. It just is. See, now this thing above me doesn't look that big, but it's actually a good distance back for me here. I mean, if I turn around to show you the wing, that should, for those of you that know what it is, that little bit right there, coupled with the rest of that wing, should give it away. This is the plane that nuked America twice. It is the Avro Vulcan. This thing, now when I say nuked America twice, right, basically, short version, missing out a lot of details, the very rough version of it was training exercise between the UK and the US. We sent 5 of these, I think it was 5 of these over, maybe 6, something like that. 5 or 6 of these over, accompanied by fighter aircraft at the time, to test America's air defences. 2 of them got through. I think it was Washington and New York, or Washington and Chicago or something like that, that we managed to land hits on. And basically America wanted that covered up. They wanted it hush-hush, and they wanted it kept under wraps. It then became declassified. I can't remember why or how, but America wanted it under wraps for a while, but then obviously it came out, and yeah, this was the Vulcan. It's now obviously out of commission, and some bragging rights. I beat that thing in a race in Forza Horizon 4. For those of you that play Forza, you'll know what I mean. That's like the first actual showcase event. You actually race against one of these. No way in hell would you actually win that, because these things were quick, and they could fly so much higher as well. That's one of the reasons America had so many issues stopping them. These things could fly higher than a lot of American planes could at the time, and they were just so much faster as well. Now this is a truly iconic British plane, and it's just, I'm here for it. If you really want to see the scope of everything, this is where you want to be. We're at the back of the Cold War hangar now, and we're up on top of the viewing platform, where we're right next to the stuff that's hung directly from the roof. But if you want the scope of everything, just look all the way back there. See how big some of the planes still look from all the way up here. It's pretty damn impressive. And I mean, for me, it's just impressive how far we've come, but how, when you get to a certain point, everything still looks the same, just a little bit more modern. Like, it's amazing. And the view up here, whew, as long as I don't drop the GoPro and accidentally wipe someone out with it, the view up here, wow. You need to take a minute to appreciate it sometimes. We're in the last hangar right now. We're just in a little building off the side of it right now, but there's some pretty cool stuff in here. This is like, you've got your air-to-air here. There's the Fire Flash air-to-air missile, which is pretty damn cool. This one's a Sidewinder. I don't even need to look at the sign to know that one's a Sidewinder. This one's a Sidewinder, the AIM 9L, I think, which was air-to-air, and it used infrared in the tip to home in on the heat signatures of the planes. That's things like flares and that kind of thing would work against the Sidewinder. But yeah, so warhead up top here, you can see the kind of grey colour up to the top. Then you've got this kind of darker bit here. Obviously it's got the fins for stabilisation and flight and everything like that. and it's pretty damn cool. I know I've spoken about iconic aircraft and obviously talking about my favourite, the Harrier, which incidentally is right here, I believe, in front of me. But I would be remiss if I didn't show off this, the bad boy that is the Boeing Chinook. Still in use today, still in use in the Gulf. Well, before we pulled out the Gulf, rolled back. Still very much in use today, but the Chinook, obviously, twin rotor. You've got the one at the front, the one at the back, and very big hull for like cargo, troop transport, whatever. Absolute icon of modern military aviation. And yeah, it's so cool. I didn't realise how short the front of it actually was from like the cockpit to the front. I thought it was a bit longer, but actually seeing it in person, didn't realise how kind of flat up against the front you actually are in that. And then, as I said, yeah, one of my favourite of all time, we've got the Harrier. Now obviously I showed you the Kestrel before, which was the precursor to this one. The Harrier has just got the one massive engine and those side vents. There's a side vent on each side of the cockpit, one massive engine behind it, and again when we come around the side you can see engines slightly more rotated in this one, a little bit more down, but it's pretty cool as well. You've got like your missile pods, you've got your fuel, your bombs, everything. It's actually pretty dope. And I believe I think that's it for all the ones I like in here. But one thing that is actually pretty cool, if I come over here I can show you it, it's a split tail. So you've got one part of the tail here, the other half of the tail over there you can see connected at the back here. I don't actually know what plane this is, I've not looked, I've not checked, but split tail either way, which I think is pretty cool. You don't see that a lot. And obviously they've got it rigged up with artillery inside it as well. So you know, you can kind of see what it's like to see what they transport, that kind of thing. It's pretty dope. And yeah, this is the final bit of the tour here in the museum. We're in the final hangar, and then that's it. But as I said, the Chinook here. This one, according to this Chinook, known as Bravo November, is the RAF's most famous helicopter. This one in particular has participated in every major conflict over the last 40 years. And this is one of the 4 Chinooks that actually went south down to the Falklands and was actually used in the Falklands as well. So it's pretty cool, pretty damn cool. And it actually only joined the museum March last year, so just over a year it's been in here. So that is very recent active service. This plane here, the Chipmunk, someone I know actually flew in one. Yeah. What was it like in it?
Cold.
Cold, I can imagine, yeah. Because what was it, RAF cadets you done?
Yeah.
Yeah, RAF cadets and Alan got to fly in that thing. Pretty damn awesome. I must say I am a little bit jealous, Alan. A little bit jealous. Don't get me wrong, I'd probably be terrified in something that small, but because it's a lot more intimate in that one, it's a lot more, yeah. And then this is what replaced the one that Alan flew in, the Scottish Aviation Bulldog. I'm on the Scotland. Right, so actually on the way back to the car, I did forget, there's 2 things outside that you might have seen on the way in the footage. Behind me we've got this absolutely massive beast, which is the British Aircraft Corporation, or BAC, VC-10 C1K. It was in service for 48 years, 151 passengers, 76 stretchers, 6 medical attendants. Basically, transport cargo plane, medical plane. And yeah, so this one here. And then, a lot of you guys will know this one, because a lot of you I know will play Call of Duty. The Lockheed C-130, otherwise known as the AC-130. But yeah, so you've got the C-130 over there, and the VC-10 there. 2 pretty big aircraft that is pretty freaking awesome to see on the way back. Now, I believe I just need to find where they've went, and then we head back to the car. So I just need to try and find it. Oh, there they are. They're over the other side of the C-110. over there. C110, C130. Why did I say 110? Because I'm looking at this VC10. But yeah, so honestly, this has been a pretty good day here, even as much as we've been kind of chilling, taking our time, walking around. It's actually been really good, and if you guys are into this kind of thing, I highly do recommend it, honestly. If you've got any sort of interest in like British military aviation, or just aviation at all, or just military at all, or like RAF, cadet, whatever, like, trust me, it's a good day out. I appreciate it. Obviously you've got the Cosford Air Show that happens, I believe, once a year here as well. Definitely a very good day. It's been fun. Even Locke, as young as he is, he's enjoyed it. It's been a laugh. But yeah, I think at this point, sadly, it's home time.